السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله. Can everybody hear me? طيب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. Welcome everyone to our third lecture of this course, the Arabic Conversational course, level 2. And today we are going to start unit 10 of this book, العربية بين يديك. طيب, let me share my screen. بسم الله. طيب, here we are. طيب, okay, so basically first thing we're going to do, like always, we're going to do a quick overview of today's, or of this week's unit, week 2 overview. So first let's talk about what we are going to learn, inshallah. And like you know, we take this directly from the book. Okay, so what does the book, or according to the book, what should we learn this week, inshallah ta'ala? The theme for this book, for this week, is al-jaw. Al-jaw, which stands for weather. Okay, and we are going to learn things related to asking about the weather, commenting on the weather, commenting on a person's clothing, specifically if it's wet or not, inquiring about quantity. I mean, that's what it says in the book, السؤال عن الكم, but it's more about the temperature levels. Okay, كم درجة الحرارة, for example. But that obviously applies to anything that is of a certain quantity. We use the question word كم. Okay, so that's something we've done already before, but again it's part of this week's theme as well. Making dua for someone as well is part of it, and also talking over the phone, because there is a conversation, a dialogue here that is taking place over the phone. Okay, so in terms of vocabulary, I did mention last week that all of you should join the Quizlet classroom. I'm not sure if there are still any outstanding invitations. Let me check very quickly. Members we have now, yeah, there's still 12 pending invitations. Maybe if you joined in a different way, but nevertheless, make sure you join the Quizlet classroom, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, طيب. Seems like I stopped sharing my screen. Okay, there we go. Alright, so then we have the core vocabulary for this week. What are they? Is vocabulary that's related to yearly seasons, the yearly seasons such as summer, winter, and the like. Adjectives for weather, how to describe weather, what adjectives do we use, and also some places outdoors. Okay, some places outdoors. That's what the vocabulary, generally speaking, revolves around. In terms of supplementary vocab, then we are going to be covering what's in Arabic it's called ظرف مكان, and in English it would translate to locational adverbs. Okay, so these are words that you use to describe the position of something, relatively speaking. So above, below, next to the right, to the left. Okay, these are called ظرف مكان in Arabic. So those are the supplementary vocab we'll be learning this week. Last week the supplementary vocab was colors. Okay. In terms of themed vocabulary, then you should go back to the theme 4 about weather. So there's a whole themed vocabulary list on Quizlet, theme 4, which will give you more words to do with weather. And I always mention this. I always talk about the themed vocabulary. But I'm not sure if all of you do it. I advise you to, because it supplements the vocabulary that you already learn that is related to the unit. So I look out to the themed vocabulary, which is part of the book itself. It's just at the end of the book. And I made flashcards for those. And I look out to see which of those themes relate to this unit's subject. And for this one, for this week, it's weather. There's an actual theme called weather. So I advise you to go there. Now is the best time to pick up on those words. When you're already, you're going to spend the whole week doing exercises, assignments, conversations, workshops. All of it's going to be about this topic. So I think now is the time to acquaint yourself with this particular theme, inshallah. Okay? So that's when it comes to vocabulary. In terms of grammar, then there are mainly two new things that we're going to be learning about. First one being the attached object pronoun, or what we would call الضمير المتصل أو ضمير النصب المتصل. ضمير النصب المتصل. So the pronoun that is for النصب, which is state in grammar, generally speaking is denoted by fatha, but pronouns don't use harakat. Pronouns are what we call mabni. They don't change. Okay, so fatha, kasra, dhamma, whatever, they don't change. But nevertheless, their state is nasb. Okay, and they denote object, i.e. maf'ulun bihi. So what do we mean by that? We'll talk about that when we get to grammar, the grammar side of things, inshallah. What are the projected learning outcomes for this week? Really important to know so that you know what you are meant to achieve. Okay. So first and foremost, you should recall with confidence the 30 core vocabulary words with ease. Okay, so this week we've got another 30 words. That's if you don't include the supplementary words and the core and the themed words. Okay, but these 30, no questions asked. You have to know them inside out. And you'll be doing a vocabulary test at the end of the week, just like you've done this week. Okay. In terms of comprehension, you should develop your ability to comprehend written and spoken Arabic when discussing the weather with speakers of the language. So when you find yourself in that kind of situation, and what better conversation starter than talking about the weather, specifically for you Brits. The weather is cold, the weather is hot, how's the weather today? Of course, not in a way that is complaining, obviously. We don't do that as Muslims. But there's nothing wrong with min bab al-khabar, from the angle of informing someone of the weather. There's nothing wrong with saying it's very cold today, it's very hot today, or it's raining today, or what have you. Okay? So, as we know, that's a major conversation starter. So when you find yourself in that situation, you know which you would comprehend, okay, what people are saying, speakers of the language. And in terms of speaking skills, then also you should be able to initiate conversations in Arabic with confidence by asking about or commenting on the weather, talking over the phone, and also by making dua for someone. Some of those things we're going to learn in this unit, inshallah. In terms of pronunciation, then this week it's all about recognizing and correctly pronouncing and differentiating between the two letters dha and dad. Dha and dad. Okay, so dha for dhuhr, salatul dhuhr, and dad for Ramadan. Okay, or walad dallin. Okay, so how do you differentiate between those two sounds? So that's also one of the learning objectives for this week. The pre-unit assignments, I've already posted them on the learning portal. Let me just quickly show you. For those of you that are new, there are a few students that for some reasons just managed to join this week. So just to quickly show them how things work, I'm just going to quickly show them the portal, inshallah ta'ala. When you log in, and all of you should know how to log in. Let's say preview course player. Okay, share the screen. So obviously this is the portal. You're going to be seeing this. So we have here week 1. We're done with week 1. These are the pre-unit. These were the post-unit assignments which were posted on Thursday. So these were the pre-class. These were the midweek. All of you have done this. And these were the post-unit. And as you can see, a vocabulary test. Okay. Now we are on week 2 now. Week 2. So week 2, same again. We have pre-class, which is posted normally on Friday. Inshallah next week, a bit earlier than this week. And then we have the midweek, which is posted or made available by Sunday. Okay. Basically after today's class, you'll find it tomorrow, inshallah. Then we have the post-unit exercises, which is basically when we're done with both lectures. So that's on Wednesday. So that's basically at the end of the week. You've done the pre-class, the midweek, which is between Saturdays and Tuesdays lecture. And they have the post-unit assignments, which generally speaking are grammar practice and also a few tests. Okay. So this particular week, every 2 weeks, we have a quarterly test. For those of you that don't know it, every 2 weeks, we have a quarterly test. As according to the book. The book does the same thing. So by the end of this week, you're going to be doing a test on units 9 and units 10. Unit 9 and unit 10. Okay. So make sure you prepare for that, inshallah ta'ala. So every 2 units, we have a test. And then after 4 units, we have a midweek test. And then units 5, if you like, 9 and 10, 10, 11, units 13 and 14, also a quarterly test. And then the final test, inshallah. So the pre-class, we have dialogue 1 worksheet. Okay, this week you'll find a major difference. Last week it was all multiple choice questions and you didn't have to write. This week you would have noticed there's a lot of writing to be done. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions almost that expect you to write. So again, you have to invest in an Arabic keyboard. Okay, now if you have a PC, you can just buy the keyboard. If you have a laptop, I would say buy those stickers that you can put on top of your existing keyboard on the laptop. Even I, generally speaking, always use external keyboard on my laptop anyway, so I can keep the screen a bit further away. But if you're going to be using the laptop's keyboards, then use those stickers. Or alternatively, just do these exercises on your phone or your iPad and use the on-screen keyboard. If everything else fails, there are websites out there. If you're using a PC or laptop, if you don't have a physical keyboard and your laptop or PC doesn't have touch screen, then there are websites out there which we've shared before. I'll share it in the group again, where you can actually type the answer and then you can just copy and paste it into the exercise, inshallah. And I'd also like to share one other website with you. Yeah, some of you are asking about the material for level 1. Yeah, so it's being uploaded, inshallah. It should be ready within the coming few days, like Monday, inshallah ta'ala, beginning of next week. Now, I'm going to show you this website. I personally, I'm going to show you it just for convenience sake, but ideally you should learn how to type Arabic as quickly as possible. But for those of you who might be stuck on time, really feel out of depth when it comes to typing Arabic and finding those letters, as a quick fix and not a long-term solution, navigate to this website called Yemli. Okay, navigate to a website called Yemli. Okay, so in this website, what you can do is you just type in English and it's going to give you the Arabic words. Okay, so let's go back to the portal. Let's check one of the questions. It says here في أي فصل هذا الحوار, in which season is it taking place? You're saying كيف الجو في الخارج السماء تمطر الآن هذا فصل الخريف. So which season is it taking place? في أي فصل هذا الحوار في فصل الخريف. صح? So you'd come here and write فصل. You see, it writes for you the actual Arabic. I hope you can see it. Let me make it bigger. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just typing fasal in English and it's giving me the Arabic. Okay, and I can continue al-kharif and it will give me the Arabic, and then you could just select, copy, and paste that into the if you like the exercise. That's if you're on a PC, it's taking too long. Because look, ideally, if you're going to be typing on a keyboard, then that's fine. I want you to develop those motor skills where you type on Arabic keyboard. But if you don't have the Arabic keyboard, then going with your mouse from letter to letter is very cumbersome. And you're not going to gain those motor skills anyway by going with your mouse. So if you don't have an Arabic keyboard until you get it, then Yemli might be a solution, inshallah. Okay? Fasl al-Kharif. I'm going to write the long sentence now. اسمي محمد وأنا من بريطانيا. Not bad, eh? Just Britannia, I wrote it with a T instead of a ta, which is weird because Britannia is not actually, with the T is not a. Okay? So it's not bad. It's not bad. اسمي. Sometimes you can click the one you want. طيب. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you. For those of you who don't have an Arabic keyboard. But again, like I said, you have to invest in an Arabic keyboard. So that's dialogue 1. Then you go to dialogue 2. Same sort of situation. You answer the questions and then you submit it and we will mark it and return it, inshallah, and correct any mistakes. Same thing for dialogue 3. And then you have the vocabulary flashcards. I already showed you how to do it. You basically see the question. You think of the answer. يخرج, what does it mean to leave? If you can think of the answer, then you choose correct if you got it right. شاطئ, if you don't know what it means, then just check the answer and then choose wrong. So when you get to the end, it's going to give you the opportunity to practice those words that you got wrong. Okay, so you're going to just focus on your weaknesses basically by just doing those words that you've got wrong. Okay, you should just go through the set of vocabulary until you get all of them right. So it says you got 16 out of 30 right. You should choose repeat missed cards. So it's just going to test me on those that I got wrong. When you do the vocabulary flashcard and you feel like you're ready, then you should go on to the vocabulary practice in Quizlet, and here you have multiple choice questions that you can practice with. Okay, it's basically on the learn mode, basically study mode. It is on learn. Okay, so I wouldn't change if I were you. Don't go there and change it. I've already chosen it for you. Okay, and that's it. So those are the pre-unit assignments I want all of you to do. Also, don't forget the reading fluency, i.e. when you're actually doing the dialogue practice, make sure you also practice your fluency by listening to the dialogue and reading after the dialogue when it's your turn, and just make sure you are fluent in reading the passage. Like I said, if you can't read this fluently, you won't speak it fluently. Do dialogue worksheets, vocabulary practice, and vocabulary assessment. So we're done with that. So now here we are, live class 1. Let's start with the first dialogue, inshallah. Then we'll cover the words that you don't know, we'll explain them, and then we'll cover the grammar concepts, and then we will wrap it up and jump over to the workshop, inshallah. Okay, any questions so far? Oh, my screen wasn't sharing. I put stickers on my keyboard. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you put stickers on your keyboard, that's fine. I wasn't sharing, no problem. All I was saying is, I think I showed the, I just showed the vocabulary practice here on Quizlet and the flashcards. And yeah, so now here we are on live class 1. Let's start with dialogue 1, inshallah, and then we'll explain. Let me make someone a co-host so they can let me know if we have those kind of mishaps again, but I'm not sharing. Okay.
الوحدة العاشرة. الجو. الكتاب الأول. الوحدة العاشرة. الجو. الدرس 82. الحوار الأول. انظر واستمع.
كيف الجو في الخارج؟
السماء تمطر الآن. هذا فصل الخريف.
ثوبك مبتل. أين المعطف؟
تركته في الشركة.
وأين المظلة؟
تركتها في السيارة.
اشرب هذا الشاي، هو دافئ.
بارك الله فيك.
هل نذهب إلى السوق الآن؟
الماء كثير جدا في الخارج.
ماذا نفعل؟
نبقى الليلة في البيت.
ونذهب غدا إلى السوق إن شاء الله.
هذه فكرة طيبة.
انظر واستمع وأعد.
كيف الجو في الخارج؟
السماء تمطر الآن. هذا فصل الخريف.
Read after them, huh?
ثوبك مبتل. أين المعطف؟
تركته في الشركة.
وأين المظلة؟
تركتها في السيارة.
اشرب هذا الشاي، هو دافئ.
بارك الله فيك.
هل نذهب إلى السوق الآن؟
الماء كثير جدا في الخارج.
ماذا نفعل؟
نبقى الليلة في البيت.
ونذهب غدا إلى السوق إن شاء الله.
هذه فكرة طيبة.
طيب ما شاء الله. Okay, so we're gonna go to vocab like always, and I want you to point out which words you don't understand and also which sentences you don't understand, and then we can explain things accordingly. So let me share the vocab link. You'll find it in the chat. There you go. Join vocab, please. So once you join, inshallah, you're gonna have these words. I'm gonna play the pronunciation of these words in the background. Okay.
الوحدة العاشرة. الجو. الدرس 82.
المفردات. دافئ. فصل الخريف.
1 minute. Is everybody on vocab?
الوحدة العاشرة. الجو. الدرس 82.
المفردات. دافئ. فصل الخريف. السماء. تمطر. السوق. في الخارج. يخرج. مبتل. ترك. مظلة. يبقى. غدا. الجو.
Okay. طيب. So you can see that a lot of you have difficulty understanding the word دافئ. دافئ means warm. Okay. So going back to the actual conversation, the wife said, what did she say? اشرب هذا الشاي الدافئ. Drink this warm tea. Drink this warm tea. So it's an adjective, okay? Warm. Then we have فصل الخريف. All of you seem to know what that means. Autumn. فصل generally speaking means season, huh? So فصل الخريف, فصل الربيع, فصل الشتاء, and so forth. So فصل الخريف is autumn. السماء, you all know what سماء is. تمطر means it's raining, from مطر. You know what سوق means. خارج means outside. يخرج means to leave, it's a verb. يخرج means to leave, it's a verb. خرج يخرج. Okay, so if we go back to the conversation, what did he say? He said, let me increase size a little bit. Okay, it said السماء تمطر الآن نذهب إلى السوق في الخارج. I don't know if did you say يلا نخرج somewhere? Yeah, so I can't see that verb here, but it's the verb that is also taken from خارج, which means outside. Okay. طيب. Then we have مبتل means wet. ترك means to leave. ترك means to leave. تركتها, he said في الشركة, I left it at the company or at work basically. مظلة, you all know what مظلة is. يبقى means to stay. نبقى الليلة, will stay this night, or tonight will stay at home. نبقى الليلة في البيت. غدا, well you have a little diagram here. أمس, yesterday. اليوم, today. غدا, tomorrow. Okay, sometimes they also say بكرة. Okay, غدا, tomorrow. And then we have الجو, you all know what الجو means. Okay. Yeah, so would the verbal noun be خارج? No, the verbal noun is not خارج. The verbal noun is خروج, which means the act of leaving or to leave. خروج. خارج means outside. Okay, خارج means outside. It's not the verbal noun. Okay. طيب. The verbal noun is خروج. خرج يخرج خروجا, to leave. طيب. Now we have here the actual sentences. I'm not sure how big or small it is on your screen, but I want you to point out, just like you did with the pictures, if there are any sentences that you don't understand. So I'm trying to figure out if there's any grammatical, if you know the vocabulary by now, is there a sentence in here that you didn't catch? You basically don't 100% understand the sentence. So select the sentences you don't 100% understand, so I can explain it. So كيف الجو في الخارج. I don't like to translate. I can translate the whole dialogue if you want, beginning till end, but that's not what the authors of the book advise with. Okay, and that's not the best way to teach. Rather, the best way to teach is for you to figure out the meaning for yourself by way of context. That's why we give the pre-unit assignments anyway, and just so that you know, all of you, all the assignments that you do, the pre-unit assignments, the writing expression assignments, the reading assignments, the listening assignments, the sound recognition assignments, all these assignments, they're not graded. They're not graded. In other words, whatever marks that you get don't negatively affect your final grade. The only things that are graded are the quarterly tests, the midterm exam, and the final exam. These other assignments, they're graded by completion. As long as you complete the assignment, you actually do it, you're fine. You won't lose any grades. Now, I don't know what happened here. Unless all the sentences need to be explained, or maybe someone doesn't know how to use the app. No problem, inshallah, we'll come to it anyway. When we get to the grammar section, we'll break down the whole sentence in more detail. So we have dialogue 1 here. So we've done the pre-assessment. Let's look at the text then, okay? So let's now go over the text and explain it in more detail, given that maybe some of you didn't understand a lot of it. So كيف الجو في الخارج. كيف means how, we know that already. Yes. كيف حالك, how's your state. كيف محمد, how's Muhammad. كيف الجو, how is the weather. Where, في الخارج. Okay, not في الداخل. She's not asking about the weather inside the house or the climate inside the house. Outside, how's the outside. The wife is asking the husband who just came back from work. السماء تمطر الآن. هذا فصل الخريف. السماء تمطر الآن. So السماء here is what? It's مبتدأ, and then تمطر is the خبر. So the sky is raining. That's how it translate literally speaking, but it basically means it's raining. Okay, تمطر is a verb. أمطر يمطر means to rain. Okay. الآن means now. هذا فصل الخريف. Why? Because this is the autumn basically. Autumn, it tends to rain a lot. ثوبك مبتل. ثوب, we've done that last lesson. ثوبك, your ثوب. So the new word here is مبتل, which means wet. Okay. أين المعطف? We've done معطف before as well. I think the second unit, which means jacket. تركته في الشركة. So this is something that is new. Okay, this is what we meant by the attached subject pronoun. Okay, here you have a pronoun, the ha, the who, attached to a verb. So what does it mean? What does it mean? We'll talk about that when we get to the grammar section, inshallah. But for now, it means I left it at the company or at work. وأين المظلة? Where's your مظلة? تركتها في السيارة. I left it in the car. Now obviously you'll notice the difference. تركته and تركتها. Why is this one تركته and why is this one تركتها? Because this one refers back to the معطف, which is masculine, and this one refers back to the مظلة, which is feminine. Okay, that's why it's تركته and تركتها. They both mean it in English, but in Arabic obviously we differentiate according to gender, or nouns have genders. All nouns have genders, even objects. اشرب هذا الشاي الدافئ. اشرب فعل أمر or a command tense. Drink this tea, this warm tea. الدافئ being what? An adjective. الدافئ being an adjective. That's why, and I've told you this many times before, that the adjective or the صفة or the نعت follows the موصوف in everything. So الشاي is مفتوح, it's got فتحة at the end, right? Because منصوب. Why? Because the object, he's drinking the tea, مفعول به, so it's got فتحة. So the صفة also has to have a فتحة. So اشرب هذا الشاي الدافئ, not الدافئ, not الدافئ, دافئ. That tells us that this is actually a صفة of this, and it's not actually a new word in of itself. Okay. بارك الله فيك. Okay, we're all familiar with بارك الله فيك or بارك الله فيك, but فيك is when you're addressing a female, just like كيف حالك. هل نذهب إلى السوق? This again something new we haven't done yet so far. For those of you that are just joining now, you might think how haven't you done this before? But that's how the book is, and I like that actually. The book doesn't introduce all of the pronouns in one go. So we've done all the singular pronouns. We've done the أنا, أنت, أنتِ, هو, and هي. So we've done them for the past tense, such as ذهبت. We've done ذهبت, ذهبتِ, ذهب, and ذهبت. All of those are the past tense. We've done it for those 5 pronouns. We also done the present tense. أذهب, تذهب, تذهبين, and يذهب and تذهب. We've done those 5 as well. We've also done the command tense for the singular. We haven't done any plural yet. This is the first plural pronoun or the first verb conjugation with plural that we come across in this book. Okay, so we've done اشرب and we've done اشربي when you're addressing one female or one male. اشرب and اشربي. Now we have the plural. We. First person, we. نذهب. أذهب, I go. نذهب, we go. نذهب, we go with a noon. So this noon is what makes the difference. Just like تذهب means you go, يذهب means he goes, أذهب means I go, نذهب means we go. Okay? So هل نذهب إلى السوق الآن? Are we going to the سوق now, or will we go to the سوق now, or are we going to the سوق now? الماء كثير جدا في الخارج, he says. The water outside is a lot. And that tends to happen a lot in Arab countries who are not as prepared for rain as you are in the West. So the sewage system is not that good. So whenever it rains, you better stay home for the most part. Okay, I remember when I initially, for many years when I was here, when it used to rain a lot, school used to be off, university used to be called off. Okay, not because it's flooding, but just because the water doesn't, it doesn't have any place to go, if you like. So she says ماذا نفعل? Again, same thing as نذهب. ماذا نفعل? What do we do? نبقى, same thing again, another noon. نبقى الليلة في البيت. We stay this night or tonight, we stay في البيت, at home. ونذهب غدا إلى السوق. We'll go to the سوق tomorrow إن شاء الله. هذه فكرة طيبة. Okay. طيب, let's go to the second dialogue then. And we'll talk in more detail about these new grammar concepts inshallah once we've covered all three dialogues. Any questions? Can you explain the grammar in the second last sentence? I didn't know you arranged the words in that order, or that you can arrange the words in that order. Okay, so we have the second last sentence, وَنَذْهَبُ غَدًا إِلَى السُّوقِ inshallah. I don't know which arrangement you are looking for. وَنَذْهَبُ إِلَى السُّوقِ غَدًا maybe? Either way, the Arabic language, like I've said many times before, it's a free word order system. The order of the words doesn't really make a difference. Okay? It is by way of i'rab, the fathas and the dhammas and the kasras, they tell us the function of the words, not the order of the words within the sentence, like it is in English. Khalid hit Zayd is different from Zayd hit Khalid. Because the words are in different order, the whole meaning of the sentence has changed. Whereas Khalid was initially the victim, now Khalid is the perpetrator. Sah? Arabic is not like that. Okay? Same thing applies here. As-sama'u tumtiru al-an. Tumtiru as-sama'u al-an means the same thing. I can start with the verb and say tumtiru as-sama'u al-an, in which case sama would be a fa'il. Or I can say as-sama'u, which is mubtada, tumtiru al-an. Okay? It wouldn't make a difference. طيب. Let's go to the next dialogue. Inshallah, next lesson we'll go over your answers because there's still a few people left that need to submit the pre-class dialogue worksheets. So we can't go over the answers today, but inshallah on Tuesday we'll go over all of your answers inshallah and explain any common mistakes. Okay? طيب. Let's listen to this one.
الوحدة العاشرة الجو. الدرس 83.
الحوار الثاني. انظر واستمع.
السلام عليكم يا بدر. أنا حسان، أتكلم من لندن.
وعليكم السلام. كيف الجو في لندن؟
الجو بارد في لندن، هذا فصل الشتاء.
كم درجة الحرارة في لندن؟
تحت الصفر. كيف الجو في الرياض؟
كان الجو حارا وهو الآن معتدل.
كم درجة الحرارة في الرياض؟
درجة الحرارة 20.
هل ستقضي العطلة في لندن؟
لا، سأقضيها في تونس إن شاء الله. والآن جاء دورك. انظر واستمع وأعد.
So now it's your turn.
الوحدة العاشرة
Don't know what happened.
الجو. الدرس 83.
I missed it there. Don't know what happened. So now it's your turn to read after.
الجو في لندن.
وعليكم يا بدر.
إن شاء الله.
Okay, so now it's your turn.
والآن
Okay, make sure
جاء
you read
دورك.
after them, okay?
انظر
Now it's your turn.
واستمع وأعد.
Did it stop there?
السلام عليكم يا بدر. أنا حسان، أتكلم من لندن.
وعليكم السلام. كيف الجو في لندن؟
الجو بارد في لندن، هذا فصل الشتاء.
الجو بارد في لندن، هذا فصل الشتاء.
كم درجة الحرارة في لندن؟
تحت الصفر. كيف الجو في الرياض؟
كان الجو حارا وهو الآن معتدل.
كم درجة الحرارة في الرياض؟
درجة الحرارة 20.
هل ستقضي العطلة في لندن؟
لا، سأقضيها في تونس إن شاء الله.
طيب ممتاز. I generally speaking when we do this, I wish it was we were all in a classroom. I find it a bit dry. So inshallah going forward, if any of the brothers want to unmute themselves and if you want to read after it, then feel free to do so inshallah. طيب. Let's go back to WooClap and tell me which words you don't understand. Tell me which words you don't understand. Let's also listen at the same time to the pronunciation of these words. Okay?
الوحدة 10. الجو. الدرس 83.
المفردات:
حار،
بارد، معتدل، فصل الشتاء، يتكلم، درجة الحرارة،
تحت الصفر،
يقضي.
طيب. Okay, so all of you know what har means and barid. Har and barid, hot and cold. Mu'tadil is in between. Mu'tadil means measured or in between. Basically not too cold, not too hot. That's mu'tadil. So when you say al-jaw mu'tadil, it means the weather is, if you like, what do you call it in English? Not cold and not hot. It's neutral, if you like. Okay? فصل الشتاء, winter. يتكلم. I think most of you know what that means already. يتكلم means to speak. درجة الحرارة, temperature. So درجة, literally speaking, means level. حرارة is, as you can see, related to har, which means heat. Okay, so har means hot. حرارة means heat. Okay? Again, from the same root word, right? Har. Heatness. Okay? So درجة الحرارة would mean the level of heat. درجة الحرارة, the level of hotness or heat. تحت الصفر, below zero. And يقضي. يقضي means to spend. Okay? Now, it could mean to spend as in to spend time. Okay? Okay, not to spend as in to spend your money. Okay? Spending time basically. So أين تقضي العطلة? Where are you going to spend the holiday? Okay, that's what it means. قضى يقضي. Okay? طيب. The sentences last time it didn't go very well, but let's try it again. Are there any sentences you don't understand? Now, if you don't understand any of the sentences, then just tell me in the chat, but don't click every sentence. Inshallah. Moderate, mild, yeah, معتدل. That's what it means, yeah. كان الجو حارا وهو الآن معتدل. Yes, we'll talk about that sentence, inshallah. There is a new grammatical, not a particular new grammatical structure, but something we've done before, but not that often you come across, okay? طيب, ممتاز. Okay, let's go to dialogue 2, then let's go to the text. We have the text here. Hassan says, السلام عليكم يا بدر, أنا حسان أتكلم من London. I'm speaking from London. Okay, وعليكم السلام يا حسان, كيف الجو في London? How is the weather in London? كيف الجو? How? We know that already, how to ask about something, how it is, we say كيف. الجو بارد في London, هذا فصل الشتاء. That's clear. It's cold in London because it's winter. Makes common sense. كم درجة الحرارة في London? What's the temperature in London? تحت الصفر. تحت, this is what we call the locational adverb that we talked about earlier. Below, above, right, left, and so on and so forth. كيف الجو في الرياض؟ كان الجو حارا. So this كان means it was. So الجو, the weather was hot. So this كان, this word itself, it needs a lot of explanation. right? Because it has its own specific rules in the Arabic language. Okay, but for now, just see it as the word was. So basically, whenever you have something in the present tense, okay, specifically if it's a jumla ismiya or a nominal sentence, where you an equational sentence in English, this is that. If you want to make it past tense, use kana. Okay, so for example, الطالب في المدرسة. Okay, student is in school. Now if you want to make that past tense, there is no verb. صح? الطالب في المدرسة is a nominal sentence. There's no verb in Arabic. Okay? الطالب في المدرسة. How are you going to make it past tense if there's no verb? Verbs denote tense. That's when you use كان. You would say كان الطالب في المدرسة. The student was at school. Okay? واضح? So that's the use of كان. كان basically when you have a nominal sentence and you want to make it past tense, you use كان. Alright? So we can apply this to almost everything. Okay? I remember last week we were talking about clothing, صح? And buying and selling stuff. So let's say, I can't remember if we did رخيص and غالي. What did we talk about last week? We had الثوب, هذا قسم القمصان, صح? So let's say الثوب, or the previous sentence we had, in the previous dialogue we had ثوبك مبتل. ثوبك مبتل. Your ثوب is wet. What if you want to make it past tense? Your ثوب was wet. You would say كان ثوبك مبتلا. كان ثوبك مبتلا. Now the only thing here that you need to remember is that the second word, generally speaking, the second word, not always, but basically the خبر, is going to have a فتحة. It's going to have a فتحة. So we have كان الجو حارا, has to have a فتحة. كان ثوبك مبتلا, has to have a فتحة. Okay? Again, something that it needs to be covered in more detail inshallah, but that would do for now. Okay? So كان الجو حارا, the weather was hot, وهو الآن معتدل, but now it is mild. So it's talking about the Riyadh in the winter. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so if it's not hot, it's really hot obviously in the summer here, but at least in the winter our weather is your summer basically. Moderate, mild, not too hot, not too cold. كم درجة الحرارة في الرياض؟ درجة الحرارة 20. هل ستقضي العطلة في لندن? Again, this is one of those words that most we didn't understand. تقضي, spend. And you can see the scene at the beginning, which means future tense. So are you going to spend your holiday in London? Hassan is asking Badr, Hassan's already in London. Badr is saying no. No thanks. سأقضيها في تونس. Rather I'll go to a Muslim country. I'm going to go to Tunis. سأقضيها في تونس. Now here we have تقضي, أقضي. So that part is familiar, okay? تقضي, you will spend. أقضي, I will spend. سأقضي, future tense, I will spend. But here you have the ha at the end. I will spend, what would that mean? It. So what does that ha return back to? What does it refer to? What is he going to spend in Tunis? عطلة. It goes back to the holiday. So I'm going to spend it, i.e. the holiday, in Tunis, Tunisia. واضح? طيب, let's go to the third and final dialogue, and then we'll do some grammar explanation, and then we'll wrap up with a Quizlet competition.
الوحدة العاشرة. الجو.
الدرس 84. الحوار الثالث. انظر واستمع.
الجو معتدل هذه الأيام.
هذا فصل الربيع.
الحمد لله. ذهب الصيف وذهب الحر.
وذهب الشتاء وذهب البرد.
أين سنقضي عطلة الأسبوع؟
نذهب إلى الشاطئ.
الشاطئ بعيد. نذهب إلى البر.
هذه فكرة طيبة. نذهب إلى البر.
سأحضر الخيمة والسجادة.
سأحضر الطعام والشراب.
أسرتي ستحضر معي.
أسرتي ستحضر معي أيضا.
والآن جاء دورك. انظر واستمع وأعد.
الوحدة العاشرة. الجو.
الدرس 84.
المفردات. فصل الصيف. يحضر.
Sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, sorry. I said basically, so reading after the, for reading fluency, reading after them, you could do that in your own time, inshallah. Find it a bit too dry, it takes too long as well. So we'll just quickly go to the vocabulary, inshallah. Okay, I'm gonna go to the vocabulary. So
الجو.
tell me which words.
الدرس 4.
Tell me which words you don't
الوحدة
understand.
العاشرة. الجو.
الدرس 84.
المفردات. فصل الصيف. يحضر. يحضر. خيمة. شاطئ. البر. فصل الربيع. برد. حر.
طيب ممتاز. Okay. فصل الصيف, most of you understand what that means. It means summer. يحضر and يحضر, I'll come back to those two inshallah. خيمة means tent. شاطئ, beach. بر, outside. What do I mean by outside bar? I.e., they generally speaking use it for, when somebody goes out to the desert, they call that al-bar. Okay? But literally speaking, it just means outside. But they basically mean like outside, like to the deserts and what have you. فصل الربيع. فصل الربيع is the, what's it called? Spring. برد and حر. So, what's the difference between بارد and حار and برد and حار? Huh? What's the difference? Who can tell us? Noun / adjective, I guess. Yeah. Yes. So, برد and حر are the verbal nouns. Okay? They are the, if you like, the nouns themselves. Heat or cold or coldness, if you like. Whereas barid is an adjective, whereas you describe something else as being cold. Har, you describe something else as being hot. So if you want to describe something as being hot, you would say هذا حار. You wouldn't say هذا حر. Okay? Har is the heat itself, يعني heat, and the phenomenon or whatever the abstract meaning of heat. And bard is coldness. Okay? That's why if we go back to the actual conversation, what did they say? He said, Alhamdulillah, ذهب الصيف وذهب الحر. Okay, so they're basically happy that they're in spring. And he's saying, ذهب الصيف وذهب الحر. The summer went and the heat went, or left us. So the heat went with the summer. And then the other guy said, وذهب الشتاء وذهب البرد. And the winter also went, and with it also coldness went. So they're talking about actual coldness and heat. They're not describing something. It's not an adjective. Okay? But if you want to describe something as being cold, as in the tea being hot or cold, then you would say الشاي بارد, الشاي حار, and so on and so forth. البر, we talked about everything. Now let's go back to يحضر and يحضر. Some of you might be thinking to yourselves, what is this? Isn't it the same? What's the difference? Only two harakat. لا, it's actually a major difference, okay? And this is something that we've covered in the Arabic conversational course. Not the Arabic, sorry, the Arabic essentials course. But nevertheless, I'll just quickly cover it again, inshallah ta'ala, okay? Let me share my screen. Okay, so these two words, they both come from the same root, حضر. Okay, which means to attend or to come. Okay, let me just put my laptop in the charger 1 second. Okay, so basically we have this word حضر. Okay, حضر, which means to attend. Okay, so he said أسرتي ستحضر معي. My family will attend with me. They will come with me. So حضر, يحضر, okay, and تحضر. Because أسرتي, obviously it is plural. Okay, so we would say تحضر. Okay, just that's how it is. Okay, أسرتي تحضر. Let me try to use a different font actually. Okay, واضح? How's that any better? Let's try something else. Okay, right. Now the other one, the other word, okay, they're both from the root ha, dad, and ra. That's the root. Okay, so we have حضر, يحضر, and تحضر. The other one is from أحضر. Okay, so what's the difference between حضر and أحضر? Okay, so we'll find that حضر is the actual the default, but then we added the hamza at the beginning. Okay, we added the hamza at the beginning. Instead of حضر, it became أحضر. Now we've talked about this before. When you have a verb that is لازم, intransitive, that doesn't have an object, and you add a hamza at the beginning, then one of the main meanings of this hamza, or one of the main things that it does, is it makes the verb transitive. It makes a verb that now has an object, a مفعول به. Okay, so to attend doesn't have an object or مفعول به. You're attending by yourself. حضرت الدرس. No, sorry, no, not حضرت الدرس. أسرتي تحضر. أسرتي ستحضر. Okay, أنا سأحضر. I will attend. Okay, طيب. But what if you want to make someone else attend as well? Okay, so the examples we gave in the Arabic Essentials course, for example, is سمع, to hear, أسمع, to make somebody else hear, ذكر, to remember, ذكر, to make someone else remember. So this is basically the difference. First they said سأحضر الخيمة والسجادة. I will bring the khayma and the sajjada. I'll bring it. Okay. أسرتي ستحضر معي. My family will come with me. They will attend with me. Okay. So here أسرتي ستحضر, the usra is doing the verb, it's coming, it's attending. But now when you're bringing something along with you, that's when you use the hamza, okay, to completely change the verb from to attend or to come somewhere to actually bringing something else, or bringing something else, which is kind of like it's the same verb. In English, you don't feel the connection between the two words, to attend or to come and to bring. You don't feel the connection. The words are completely different. But in Arabic, no. In Arabic, because the meanings are related, the actual verb and the way it's written is also going to be very similar. Okay? So for example, to study and to teach. In English, two completely separate words. Studying, teaching, two separate things. But in Arabic, no. Darasa, which means to study. Darrasa, which means to teach. Because they come from the same root, which is learning, generally speaking. Okay? One of the beauties of this language. So that's why أحضر and يحضر look so similar, but at the same time, they are also two different words. Okay? And when you learn things this way, you learn the connections, it's much easier for you to remember the vocabulary. Because now you don't need to memorize, you just need to understand. Okay, because now when you come across a verb that you already know, for example, maybe you know the word, let's say you know the word dakhala or kharaja. Today we've done kharaja, صح? So you know the word kharaja. But then you come across akhraja. Now you're like, okay, if kharaja means he left, then akhraja must mean to make someone else leave, to expel someone. Okay, so he exited, kharaja min al-ghurfa. He left the room, he exited the room. Akhraja Muhammadan min al-ghurfa. He expelled Muhammad from the room. So you don't even need someone for you, you don't need someone to translate for you what akhraja means. Because of the fact that you know kharaja, and you know what the hamza does, you can automatically figure out what akhraja has to mean. Okay? طيب. So that's when it comes to حضر يحضر and أحضر يحضر. Okay? طيب. Let's go back to the actual text of dialogue 3. We have so we've covered the سأحضر, I will bring الخيمة والسجادة. And that's why look at how right now الخيمة and سجادة are مفعول به. They got فتحة at the end. Because you're actually bringing the tent. You're bringing the سجادة, the prayer mat. أحضر. You're bringing it. But look at here. ستحضر معي. أسرتي ستحضر معي. There's no مفعول به. Okay, my family will come with me. طيب. سأحضر الطعام والشراب. Okay, so this the فاعل and this مفعول به. And this the فعل, sorry, and that's the مفعول به. ممتاز. Okay, in terms of grammar, I think I've already explained everything يعني, along the way. But just to recap it, in terms of verbs, we said we got plural verbs. نذهب, yes, that we didn't have before. And we also have the attached object pronoun, which is the actual مفعول به when it's connected to the verb. Now I want you to tell me what the difference between these two. تركته and كتابه. Tell me what the difference is. Both of them have the ha at the end, but grammatically speaking, they are two completely different things. Who can tell me what I mean here? So they both have ha at the end. تركته and كتابه. Okay? So what is the difference? نعم. One is possessive. أحسنت. مضاف إليه and مفعول به. That's the difference. One, we're talking about possession, his book. Whereas the other one, we're talking about مفعول به, object, as in the verb's object. I left it. Now, how do you know the difference? How do you know when the ha is possessive or when it is مفعول به? How do you know the difference? How would you know the difference? Context. Okay, what kind of context? You need to be more precise. What kind of context? The rule is very simple. مفعول به منصوب. نعم. نعم أحسنت. Yes. Verb and noun. Or one is attached to nouns and the other is attached to verbs. نعم أحسنت. Okay, so whenever you find this ha, and not just this ha, any of the 12 pronouns, the ya for the mutakallim, kitabi, or tarakani, or the noon al-jama' lil-mutakallim, which we've done today, such as Rabbuna, our Lord, or khalaqana, he created us. Okay, so look at our and us, two different words in English. Our, possession, possessive, description. Us, object. Or maybe it could be the ta, okay, such as, or the ka, sorry, the kaf, such as kitabuka and darabaka, your book, and he hit you, okay, your and you. Or it could be anything, or any of the 12 pronouns. If they are connected to a noun, it's mudaf ilayh. Automatically, don't even think twice. You have a noun, and then there's a pronoun connected to it, automatically you've got mudaf ilayh. That's it. His book, her father, our Lord, your mother. It doesn't matter. The noun and the pronoun. So first in English, obviously you mention the pronoun first, and then you mention the noun. Because in English, obviously the possessive phrase is opposite. You mention the pronoun first. If it's connected to a verb, don't think twice. Don't think twice. It's مفعول به. خلاص انتهينا. خلقنا رزقنا. Obviously we're talking about the object pronoun. So there's a difference between the object pronoun and the subject pronoun. i.e. there's a difference between the مفعول به, when the pronoun is مفعول به, okay, ضمير النصب we call it, and the ضمير الرفع is different. The ضمير الرفع, which is like for the subject, for the فاعل, it's different. So for example, we have تركت, that two at the end, that's for the فاعل, it's not for the مفعول به. Okay, تركت. Whereas the مفعول به is yeah. Okay, واضح? Anyway, we'll cover all of that later inshallah ta'ala. The point I just wanted you to realize here is that سأقضيها, he said in the dialogue, which means I'll spend it. Okay, then we have the lam of negation. Okay, today we're not going to do a Quizlet competition, we're going to do a word clap competition. Okay, on the la of negation versus the la of prohibition. So you're going to see a sentence and you're going to have to choose if it's something that is being negated or something that is being prohibited. And as we go along, I might give you some hints inshallah. Okay, so this is going to be a competition. I'm going to enable competition mode. Alright, competition mode, there we go. Alright, are you ready for it? طيب, let's start then. So we have negation versus prohibition. Ready? 3, 2, 1. You got 30 seconds, huh? طيب, go ahead. The sentence is لا أسكن في شقة or شقة. Okay. Alright, so this is negation. لا أسكن في شقة. He's saying I don't live in a shaqqa. Like I said, I might give you hints along the way. The hint here being that when you have first person, you can't have prohibition. You can't prohibit yourself, my dear brothers and sisters. You can't say to yourself, don't do it, unless you're talking to yourself in a mirror or whatever. Yes, but linguistically speaking, in terms of language, there is no verb conjugation for prohibiting yourself. Okay? Neither is there a verb conjugation for prohibiting a third person that's not even there or that you're talking about. So, when it comes to prohibition and command, it can only be second person. You. That's it. You male, you female, you plural, you dual, it doesn't matter, whichever one it is. But only those 5 pronouns, 3 which are 2 that are singular, 2 that are plural, 1 that is dual. Those 5 pronouns you can use to command someone or to prohibit someone. So you can say to someone ishrab for male. You can say ishrabi for female. You can say ishraba for dual. Ishrabu when it's plural and ishrabna when it's female plural. That's it. The fi'l amr only has those 5. But you can't say ishrab to yourself or to us or to he. You can't command someone that you're talking about. You can't. So that is a major takeaway that you should look at in the coming questions. لا تشرب الشاي. لا تشرب الشاي. Obviously there's something there that gives away the answer. طيب أحسنت. نعم. Still 2 of you got it wrong. لا تشرب. You see the sukun at the end? The sukun tells you it's command tense always. There's either command tense or prohibition. The sukun. تشرب. Okay, that sukun gave things away. Don't drink tea. Now if the sukun wasn't there and it was لا تشرب الشاي, then that would have been negation. You're not drinking tea. So again, the difference is the sukun. Subtle difference, but that's life. That's Arabic for you. لا تشرب الشاي with sukun is a prohibition. لا تشرب الشاي is a negation. We told you this can get quite awkward if you're invited to somebody's house and the person says to you, لا تأكلوا شيئا. He says to you, you're not eating anything. It's actually a negation. He's saying you're not eating anything. In other words, eat more. Now, if you don't revise your Arabic and you don't know the difference between لا تأكلوا شيئا and لا تأكل شيئا, then you might feel a bit sad. You might feel a bit awkward, thinking to yourself, what's wrong with this guy? He invited me to his house and now he's saying to me, don't eat anything. You might stop eating. And he'll get upset and you'll get upset. Before you know it, you're not speaking to each other. لا. Difference between لا تأكل شيئا and لا تأكل شيئا. Okay? طيب. فاطمة لا تعمل. فاطمة لا تعمل. The hint I gave you earlier will help you out. طيب. Time's up. نعم, we're getting better, mashallah. فاطمة لا تعمل. Again, Fatima is a third person. I said to you, you can't command a third person. Okay? Fatima is not here, and you're talking about it. How are you going to command her? So, فاطمة لا تعمل is a negation. طيب. لا أشرب الحليب. لا أشرب الحليب. طيب. Okay, لا أشرب. Again, first person. You can't command or prohibit yourself. So it has to be negation. I'm not drinking milk, or I don't drink milk, generally speaking. لا أشرب الحليب. I don't drink milk. You're not saying to yourself, don't drink milk. لا, no need to prohibit yourself. You don't want to drink it, don't drink it. What's the point? طيب. لا تأكل السمك. I think it might show better on your mobiles. لا تأكل السمك. Okay, so listen carefully, huh? لا تأكل السمك. There's a dhamma here. لا تأكل السمك. Pay attention. Oh man, what did I do here? That's a bit messed up. There you go. لا تأكل السمك. Okay, time's up. نعم. So again, this is the only thing that helps you out here is the dhamma. If it was a prohibition, it would be majzoom, it would have a sukoon. But I said to you, is تأكل السمك with a dhamma, so it has to be negation. So the difference between negation and prohibition is that sukoon. Okay? Next one. Nobody ever said this is going to be easy. لا تأكلين اللحم. لا تأكلين اللحم. Is that a negation? Are we saying to her that you don't eat meat? Or are we saying to her, don't eat meat? Don't eat meat. Oh, sorry. Some of you pressed it after you saw the dhamma. I think it should show up on the phone, I think. Allah Alam. Sorry about that. لا تأكلين اللحم. نعم, negation. Negation. Why is it negation? We'll come to know. لا يسافر إلى بريطانيا. In other words, when it's prohibition, it wouldn't be تأكلين اللحم. It would be different. So those of you that have done your verb conjugations and your majzooms and a bit of i'rab, you should know how it should be if it was negation. Okay, but that one, if it was prohibition, but that one was negation. لا تأكلين اللحم was actually negation. لا يسافر إلى بريطانيا. لا يسافر إلى بريطانيا. Negation, yes. Again, يسافر third person. We can't command or prohibit a third person. You can only command or prohibit second person. So automatically, if it's first or third person, you know it can't be prohibition. طيب, I think this is the final one. لا تذهبي إلى السوق. لا تذهبي إلى السوق. I want you to compare this to لا تأكلين اللحم. لا تذهبي إلى السوق. What's the difference? There's a difference there, and that difference there is for a reason. Okay? لا تذهبي إلى السوق. طيب. Yes, mashallah. Well done. So, لا تذهبي إلى السوق. If this was not prohibition, it would have been لا تذهبين إلى السوق. That's the default with the noon at the end. But we got rid of the noon in order to show you that it's prohibition. So that's the difference. So sometimes we put a sukoon and sometimes we get rid of the noon, basically. Okay, so in this situation, instead of putting a sukoon on the noon, we get rid of the whole noon to show you that it is majzoom. And all of this got to do with i'rab. All of this got to do with grammar, the states that the verbs are in, which tell you what it means. Okay, so i'rab really makes a major difference to the meaning of a sentence. This is the last one. لا تدخل البيت. I think that's what it says. لا تدخل البيت with a كسرة. لا تدخل البيت with a كسرة. طيب. Now, this is prohibition. Why is it prohibition? Because of the kasrah. Verbs normally never have kasrah. We only add kasras if there's a sukoon. And we have two sukoons following each other. We donate a kasrah so that we can connect the two words. We can't say لا تدخل and then al-bayt. We can't do that. We want to connect it because it's hamzatul wasl. Hamzatul wasl, we don't use it when we're connecting the words. Since we can't use it, you're going to end up with a lam with sukoon and another lam with sukoon. How are you going to pronounce two lams with the sukoon at the same time? لا تدخل البيت, you can't say that. So what do the Arabs do? They donate a kasrah. We've done that in the Quran reading course. So that kasrah tells you, so sometimes you have a sukoon, sometimes you have a kasrah. Either way, it shows you if it both show you that it's prohibition. Okay? Then let's see how you done in the competition. MashaAllah, Aftab is first, followed by Ibn Amr, and then Najil. MashaAllah, Ahsantum. That's the top 3 and this is the top 5. Hamza and Shu'aib. Okay? MashaAllah. Barakallah feekum. Ahsantum jami'an. Now we're going to break up, inshaAllah. And now I'm meeting of two schools. We're going to go to the workshop, inshaAllah. Just one thing I wanted to point out to the self-paced students, the students on the self-paced tier. You would have noticed that I've upgraded you to the premium cohort on the LMS, on the portal. This is because it was only 3 of you, and instead of duplicating the content from premium cohort to self-paced, I just decided to upgrade you to premium cohort, which means you have the added benefit of all of your work being marked, inshallah. So anything you do going forward, instead of marking it yourself, inshallah the teacher and myself will mark it and give you feedback, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? Alright? So all of you on the self-paced, tier, you have now access to the premium cohort, inshallah. So every assignment that you submit will be marked and you'll receive feedback, inshallah. Okay? Complimentary is on the house. Alright? Hayakumullah. طيب, inshallah, I'll see all of you in the workshop. Barakallah feekum. وإياكم وإياكم. inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, we'll have a 5-minute break. Yeah, so the workshop, we normally have 5-minute break anyway. Yeah, no problem. Join after 5 minutes. As a matter of fact, join at 10:30, inshallah, no problem. Join at 10:30. Assalamu alaikum. So the workshop will start at 10:30, okay? Assalamu alaikum.